Hey everybody, this is Chris Miller and welcome to Missed Calls. Glad to see you guys again this week. This episode of Missed Calls is brought to you by Home by SMCI. I just want to let everybody know in case they haven't went outside, especially last week, it was hot. It was really, really hot. And if your air conditioner is, well, if it sucks, let's just say if it sucks, you need to call Home by SMCI. They can come out and get that thing going. It's almost June. And if you waited this long, you're kind of a procrastinator and you might deserve it, but maybe something happened to it. Maybe you just decided to stop working. Call Home by SMCI. They will come and take care of you guys. They are all about service and quality and treating you like family, and that's why it's Home by SMCI. You can call them at 636-337-4444. Call them. They'll come out, take care of you, get you fixed up. That's Home by SMCI. So our topic this week is kind of one that it's one of those things. I like to bring up things that are important to me to talk about. But back in 2017, the National Federation of High School Sports decided to institute a pitch count for all of its member schools through all the states, which means Michigan adopted it as well. And the pitch count rule basically is like this, where when you are a junior or senior, you can only throw up to 105 pitches a day, freshman, sophomore, 95, 7th and 8th grade, 85. And if you do throw, if you're a junior or senior, if you only throw between 1 and 30 pitches, I mean, obviously you can see how this goes. So it gives you the amount of time that you have, or the amount of pitches that you can throw. It also gives you the amount of days rest depending on how many pitches that you did throw. Well, it's kind of a pain in the butt for coaches because you have to put it in online. You have to put it in right away. It'll tell you if the kid is eligible or not to pitch. The Michigan site sometimes is a little sketchy, but it all depends on coaches being honest and putting in their pitch count. And while I think it's there for a good reason, the problem with it is the same as anything else that we deal with as high school coaches. There's nothing that really controls what a select coach or a Legion coach or some kind of AAU does. We are confined to our own rules by the Missouri State High School Activities Association here in Missouri. The National Federation of High School Sports is overseeing everybody else. Well, the problem is nothing tells Johnny's dad, who coaches their select team, that Johnny, he can throw 125 pitches. Okay, well, he's going to go do that. Well, then if he has any baseball workouts with me during the summer, he's already thrown, so now his arm's hurting. And who knows what kind of pitches that Johnny's dad, who coaches, is making him throw and what they're calling. And the problem with this is, while there's no oversight for these select coaches, or even for Legion, that there's nothing that goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do as high school coaches, and that really handcuffs us. So if you have this happen, you have your kids that are pitching, okay? Well, that's fine and dandy. We don't want anybody to overuse their arm, but then they're playing baseball all year long. And I don't know if there's any oversight on how many pitches kids can throw. I don't know if there's a computer database that they have to put these coaches have to put their kids' pitch count into. And what happens? We wear our kids out. Our kids are having Tommy John surgeries at 15 years old because Johnny's dad thinks he needs to throw that curveball 85% of the time. Okay, great. You've just set this kid back. Now, there are people who think that, I'll just go ahead, I'll just have my kid get their Tommy John surgery now and that'll take care of it for the future. That's not really the best way of going. The good Lord didn't make a mistake when he made you the first time. You're built the way that you are because that's the way it should be. And I think it's doing a complete disservice that we don't have this kind of oversight all the way across when it comes to these select baseball teams, because we're operating under this pitch count rule, which it's extremely inconvenient, okay? Just from my experience in coaching baseball, it's really, really inconvenient. And it almost does the exact opposite. It puts teams in a very big predicament. Now, it's all about protecting the kids. It's great. There's nothing wrong with wanting to do that. I personally think that if we're going to do it here, something has to be done when we're talking about non-high school teams, non-high school organizations. And the problem is when you have a kid who's throwing all the time, whether it's he does a baseball season, then he's going to go and do his summer ball, and then he's going to either play fall ball for his select team or Legion team or whatever, or he's going to play high school. And then he's throwing in the wintertime. He's doing this all the time. He's going to wear himself out. His arm's going to get worn out. Maybe it can't take that kind of abuse. Maybe it can. Maybe it builds him up. But the problem is there's nothing that tells where I can only pitch a kid give a kid 105 pitches a day as a junior and a senior. Who's to say that he's not throwing more than that in those other games? So as we're trying to be diligent and do our due diligence here with the National Federation of High School Sports and Missouri State High School Activities Association, we're not doing the same due diligence when it comes to these other leagues and these other places. So I always caution parents of baseball kids, especially if they play basketball, but make sure that you're not being overused. And just think about this. So my best player is my pitcher. Usually in small school baseball, that's how it goes. And he's also my backup catcher. So when he isn't pitching, he's going to catch. Who's the next guy who throws the ball more than the pitcher? It'd be the catcher. So now he's getting that kind of abuse on his arm as a catcher. And there are a lot of kids that I have either coached in basketball or coached in baseball. I've seen it. They end up throwing a lot, and their arm hurts, or it hurts in different times, or they have these weird pains, or I got ice and it still hurts. And I think we are doing a disservice when we don't take care of our kids the right way. Now, as a coach, as a high school coach, I can sit here and complain all day long about the pitch count rule with Misha. Again, inconvenient. I understand why it's there. I have no problem with the why. My problem is what are we doing across the board where I know we have no control over Johnny's dad who coaches the select team that he started up so Johnny gets to play. But Legion Ball, along with those select teams, there has to be some kind of oversight. If we're all about protecting kids and making sure that they're okay, what are we going to do about this? And if it's not any kind of organizations, then I implore our parents to please make sure that your kids are being taken care of. They're not being harmed. And if you're a baseball coach or you see this is happening, let's try to educate. Let's make sure this doesn't happen. We don't need to have 14-year-olds getting Tommy John surgery. That's asinine, completely asinine. There's plenty of other things in this world that they could be doing and having fun. They don't need to be rehabbing because they had to have a surgery because somebody wanted them to throw a split finger fastball a bunch. That's crazy. I think that's something that really falls through the cracks, and that's something I wholeheartedly believe is a missed call today in today's society. So thank you for joining me for another episode of Missed Calls. I'll be back next week. You can tune into the Coach's Box tomorrow night at 7 p.m. It's going to be before the Blues Avalanche game, so hopefully we can get a win. We'll see you guys next week.